Imagine for a moment a future, or maybe even a recent past, where the most transformative medical breakthroughs just couldn't reach us. No life-saving vaccines delivered quickly to millions, no essential insulin managed at home, no cutting-edge cancer treatments targeting disease with, pinpoint accuracy. What is the invisible foundational bedrock that makes all of this possible reliably, safely, and on a global scale, day in and day out? It's a piece of modern medicine so critical, yet so utterly out of sight, that most people, even those of us who rely on these medicines, never truly think about it. Welcome to The Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of sources, articles, research our own notes, and really pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge or insight. We're here to give you a shortcut to being truly well-informed, packed with surprising facts, and hopefully just enough humor to keep you hooked. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an often unseen but absolutely critical player in the global pharmaceutical industry. West Pharmaceutical Services. It's a company that touches millions of lives daily, ensuring the efficacy and safety of drugs, yet, few have heard its name. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack exactly why West Pharmaceutical Services, or WST as we'll probably refer to it, isn't just a supplier, but is widely considered an indispensable picks and shovels provider to the pharmaceutical gold rush. We'll explore why it represents a high-quality, long-term investment opportunity, delving into its formidable and durable competitive moat, the powerful industry trends it leverages, and its compelling financial story. By the end of our conversation, you, our listener, will gain a unique understanding of how a company you've likely never heard of plays such a pivotal role in modern healthcare. You'll grasp why its business model is so robust, offering a fresh perspective on the quiet yet profound innovation happening behind the scenes in medicine. Okay, let's unpack this concept of pigs and shovels. It's a fantastic analogy often used in business, right? To describe companies that profit from a boom not by directly striking gold, but by selling the essential tools to the miners. They benefit from the rush without bearing the high speculative risk of finding gold themselves. How does West Pharmaceutical Services fit this analogy in the pharmaceutical world? Because it feels like a really, really apt way to think about a company that's so critical, yet so kind of out of the spotlight.
You've nailed the analogy, and it's quite precise for West Pharmaceutical Services. They aren't the pharmaceutical company spending billions on R&D, risking clinical trial failures, or racing to discover the next blockbuster drug. Instead, they supply the absolute critical, high-quality components and delivery systems that every single injectable drug must have to function safely and effectively. Think of them as providing the specialized glass vials, the precisely engineered rubber stoppers, the perfectly fitted plungers for syringes, and even the sophisticated auto-injector devices.
Okay, so all those little bits that actually make the medicine usable.
Exactly. Whether it's a revolutionary new vaccine, an insulin product, or the latest targeted cancer therapy, if it's an injectable medicine, it almost certainly relies on West components. This positions them to benefit immensely from the overall growth and innovation of the entire injectable drug industry, regardless of which specific drug becomes a blockbuster. Their success isn't tied to one drug or even one disease. It's tied to the aggregate volume of approved injectable drugs worldwide.
Right. So they win as long as injectables are needed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It allows them to ride the wave of pharmaceutical innovation and market expansion without bearing the high-stakes binary risk that comes with individual drug development and clinical trials. They are selling the indispensable tools, and the demand for those tools is, well, it's only growing.
So they're the silent enablers, the essential infrastructure beneath every pharmaceutical breakthrough. But for a company that plays such a crucial role, I confess I genuinely hadn't heard the name until we started digging into this. So who is this company, really? Give us the basic rundown.
Sure. West Pharmaceutical Services is a company with actually a pretty rich history, founded way back in 1923. They're headquartered in Exton, Pennsylvania, and have evolved into a global leader in the design, manufacture, and sale of innovative high-quality containment and delivery systems, specifically for injectable drugs and other sensitive healthcare products. They truly serve as a mission-critical partner to the world's leading pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and generic drug companies. Their extensive product portfolio is surprisingly diverse, ranging from advanced components like elastomeric stoppers and seals for vials, plungers for syringes and cartridges, all the way to complex, user-friendly drug delivery devices like auto-injectors and wearable on-body systems.
Wow, okay, so not just stoppers.
No, definitely not just rubber stoppers, as you said.
Mhm.
They're creating highly engineered, scientifically validated solutions that are absolutely integral to patient safety and drug efficacy.
It sounds immense, but give us a sense of their actual footprint. How widespread is this invisible backbone in our global healthcare system?
Yeah, their operational scale is truly immense. and it's a foundational element of their strength. West has a global workforce of over 10,000 team members, operating across approximately 50 sites worldwide, which includes 25 dedicated manufacturing facilities. And these aren't just small factories. These are highly specialized, often sterile, precision manufacturing environments. But here's the truly staggering number, and one that gives you a real sense of their pervasiveness. They ship over 43 billion components and devices annually.
43 billion.
Billion, with a B. To put that in perspective, every single day, their products are used in the administration of healthcare to tens of millions of patients worldwide. Imagine the sheer variety of illnesses, the countless patient journeys, the different clinics, hospitals, and homes that a number like 43 billion components represents. That volume isn't just impressive. It profoundly underscores just how deeply integrated and absolutely essential their role is within the global pharmaceutical supply chain. They are truly pervasive, a quiet giant.
That is a mind-boggling number. You're talking about billions of these components. But as you alluded to, it's not just about making rubber stoppers or glass vials. What truly defines their offering beyond just the physical parts? Because if it were that simple, if it was just about basic manufacturing, wouldn't there be a lot more competition?
That's precisely where their formidable competitive moat begins to take shape. West's commitment isn't just to leadership in quality in a general sense. It's their practice of working by the side of its customers from concept to patient. This goes far beyond simply manufacturing components. They effectively become an extension of the pharmaceutical company's own R&D and regulatory department. They provide a comprehensive suite of services that includes deep scientific, technical, and crucially, regulatory expertise. This close, collaborative partnership is absolutely critical for successful drug development and commercialization.
So the pharma companies can just focus on the drug itself.
Exactly. Pharmaceutical manufacturers can then concentrate on their core competency of drug discovery and formulation, entrusting West with a vital and highly specialized task of ensuring the integrity, stability, and safety of the final packaged drug product.
What unique insights do they gain from being by the side of their customers that a standard supplier would simply never have?
Well, they're seeing the drug molecule at its earliest, most vulnerable stages. They understand the exact chemical properties, the stability challenges, the desired shelf life, and the intended patient population. This deep access allows them to proactively design and recommend packaging solutions that optimize drug performance and safety. It's a unique feedback loop where West's material scientists and engineers are constantly iterating and innovating in direct response to the cutting-edge challenges posed by new drug discoveries.
Okay, so it's a real partnership.
It is. This deep, almost collaborative R&D partnership makes them incredibly valuable.
So it's not just about meeting quality standards, but actively shaping them hand in hand with their clients. And that partnership must be particularly crucial for the most advanced sensitive drugs, right? The really complex ones.
Absolutely. This partnership is particularly crucial for the rapidly growing class of sensitive and high-value biologic drugs, which we'll definitely discuss more. These complex molecules are often inherently unstable and can interact negatively with their primary packaging, potentially compromising sterility, efficacy, and ultimately patient safety. West has developed a specialized portfolio of advanced containment solutions, such as their Fluorotec film laminated and NovaPure components, which are specifically designed to mitigate these risks.
These specialized product names like Fluorotec or NovaPure clearly signal advanced engineering. Can you paint a quick picture for us of when a pharmaceutical company would absolutely have to use, say, a Fluorotec component over a standard stopper, and why that decision is so critical?
That's a great question because it really illustrates the criticality. Imagine you have a complex biologic drug, perhaps a monoclonal antibody, that is incredibly sensitive to even trace amounts of extractables from standard rubber. These extractables could degrade the drug, reduce its potency, or even create a safety risk for the patient. In this scenario, a pharmaceutical company would have to use a Fluorotec film laminated component. The Fluorotec component has a thin, inert fluoropolymer film layered over the rubber, creating a barrier that prevents the drug from interacting with the elastomer.
Ah, like a protective coating.
Exactly. This is a non-negotiable requirement for many biologics. If they didn't use it, the drug would simply not have the required shelf life or stability to be viable on the market. Similarly, NovaPure components are manufactured to the absolute highest quality standards, with rigorous defect detection and extremely low particulate levels, making them essential for high-value biologics where even the smallest imperfection could be, well, catastrophic. And then there's diketoxyl a novel cyclic olefin polymer that serves as a break-resistant and highly stable alternative to traditional glass for vials and syringes. For certain drugs, especially those for long-term storage or where there's a concern about glass delamination or breakage, Crystal Zenith offers superior purity and physical durability.
So these aren't just upgrades, they're enabling technologies.
Precisely. This makes them an indispensable enabler of modern biopharmaceutical innovation, allowing these complex, life-changing therapies to reach patients safely and effectively.
I'm particularly fascinated by this concept of how a supplier of seemingly small components can become so utterly indispensable. Could you peel back the layers for us and explain the mechanism by which West essentially locks in pharmaceutical manufacturers for decades? This sounds like an almost unbreakable business model that, transcends typical supplier relationships.
It truly is a unique and powerful mechanism that contributes significantly to the stability of their revenue model, what we call regulatory lock-in. When a pharmaceutical company develops a new injectable drug, the specific primary packaging components from a supplier like West are rigorously tested for compatibility and stability with that drug formulation. These components, say a specific vial stopper or syringe plunger, are then explicitly included in the drug's official regulatory filing with stringent agencies such as the US FDA, the European Medicines Agency, or Japan's PMDA.
So it's written right into the drug's official paperwork.
Exactly. Once that drug is approved, these specific West components become a permanent part of the drug's master file for its entire commercial life cycle. And we're not talking years, we're talking decades. This creates exceptionally high switching costs. If a drug manufacturer, for any reason, wanted to change even a single component, perhaps to save a few pennies, it would require them to undertake a costly, lengthy, and highly risky process of revalidation and resubmission to regulatory authorities.
Wow, that sounds like a nightmare.
It is. This isn't a simple swap. It means proving that the new component is just as safe, just as stable, and just as effective with the drug. This revalidation process can take years, cost tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars, and introduces a significant risk of delays or even outright rejection for what could be a multi-billion-dollar drug already on the market.
So nobody wants to touch it once it's approved.
Very few companies are willing to take that kind of risk for an established revenue-generating product.
So it's like West becomes a silent, embedded partner in every vial, every syringe for the lifetime of that drug. That's an incredibly powerful position. They're essentially baking themselves into the very fabric of the drug's identity, which means they're not just selling a product, they're selling regulatory approval, stability, and continuity. But does being such an indispensable partner ever expose them to unique pressures? For instance, do they face intense scrutiny from regulatory bodies or even, antitrust concerns given how entrenched they become?
That's an insightful question. And while they are embedded, the regulatory scrutiny tends to fall more heavily on the drug manufacturer, who is ultimately responsible for the finished drug product. West's role is to ensure their components meet the exacting standards set by both the customer and the regulators. Their market leadership actually serves as a benefit in this regard. Regulators are familiar with West's processes and quality standards, which can, frankly, streamline aspects of the approval process for drug developers.
So familiarity helps.
It does. As for antitrust, the market for these highly specialized components, while concentrated, is still competitive with other major players. So, while West is dominant in certain high-value product categories, it's not a complete monopoly, and their value proposition hinges on quality and scientific partnership, not solely on an unassailable market position.
Makes sense.
This unique position in the value chain effectively makes West a de-risk proxy for the entire pharmaceutical industry. You're benefiting from the aggregate growth and innovation of the market, driven by new drug approvals in high-growth therapeutic areas like biologics and GLP-1s. But crucially, without bearing the high-stakes risk of clinical trial failures that are inherent to individual drug development companies.
So you get the upside of pharma growth without the downside of a specific drug failing.
Exactly. It means West's success is tethered to the overall volume of approved injectable drugs, a much larger, more diversified, and more predictable driver than the commercial success of any single therapy. This structure provides broad exposure to the most promising and durable trends in modern medicine with significantly lower idiosyncratic risk, making it a remarkably predictable and resilient business.
So they've cemented their position with existing drugs through this incredible regulatory lock-in, making them almost impossible to dislodge. But what about the future? Beyond just maintaining their current indispensable role, what are the grand evolving narratives in healthcare that West is uniquely positioned to not just observe, but actively shape and profit from?
Yeah, West Pharmaceutical Services operates at a really exciting intersection of two massive and expanding markets: pharmaceutical packaging and drug delivery systems. The global pharmaceutical packaging market alone was valued at over, get this, $130 billion in 2023, and it's projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, estimated somewhere between 6% and 15% over the next decade.
Wow.
Similarly, the drug delivery systems market is robust, valued at approximately $46 billion in 2024. But critically for West, the injectable drug delivery segment is not only the largest but also the fastest-growing submarket. This growth is propelled by powerful, interconnected secular tailwinds that align perfectly with the company's core competencies and strategic focus.
Okay, big trends.
Yeah, these are macro shifts that are fundamentally reshaping healthcare delivery.
Let's start with biologics. We hear a lot about the monoclonal antibodies, gene therapies. They really are at the cutting edge of medicine. But what exactly are they, and why are they so good for West? It sounds like a huge and growing part of their future.
The pharmaceutical industry has undergone a fundamental long-term shift from traditional small molecule chemical drugs, think aspirin, to large molecule biologic therapies. These are not your typical pills. They are complex proteins, antibodies, and even living cells that target disease with incredible precision. They really represent the engine of modern pharmaceutical innovation, offering treatments for conditions previously untreatable.
Okay, much more complex than older drugs.
Exactly. Due to their complex, delicate structure and inherent instability, biologics are almost exclusively administered via injection, and they are extraordinarily sensitive to their primary packaging. They demand advanced containment solutions to maintain stability, prevent aggregation or degradation, and ultimately ensure patient safety and efficacy. This trend provides a powerful and sustained tailwind for West's high-margin, high-value product, or HVP, portfolio, which is specifically engineered for these demanding applications. These aren't just standard components. They are carefully designed and manufactured to prevent any interaction that could compromise the drug.
And West is deeply involved here.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge market, and management has consistently emphasized biologics as a primary growth driver, noting that West's components are included in approximately 90% of new biologic molecules entering the market.
90%. That's market dominance.
It really is. That's a testament to their dominant and deeply integrated position in this critical and rapidly expanding field.
And speaking of huge trends, what about GLP-1 drugs for diabetes and obesity? There's like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. These are everywhere right now, absolutely dominating the headlines and becoming household names. How does West play a role here, beyond just a basic component? This seems like an enormous, rapidly expanding market.
The recent and truly explosive growth in the market for GLP-1 agonist drugs for diabetes and obesity represents a transformative, multi-year tailwind for West. These blockbuster therapies, which you mentioned, are almost universally delivered via self-injection devices, often pre-filled pens or auto-injectors that patients can use at home.
Right, the self-injection pens.
Exactly. This is precisely where West steps in as a critical supplier. They provide essential components, such as specialized elastomer plungers, that are vital for ensuring the precise and consistent dosing within these pre-filled syringes and auto-injectors. The plunger is a deceptively simple component, but its material science and manufacturing precision are paramount for accurate drug delivery. And in some cases, West even acts as a contract manufacturer of the final device itself, leveraging their expertise in precision molding and assembly.
So they make the plunger and sometimes the whole pen.
That's right. Management has explicitly highlighted the surge in demand for components associated with drugs treating diabetes and obesity, underscoring the powerful and immediate impact of this therapeutic supercycle on West's financial performance. To give you a quantifiable impact, in the second quarter of 2025, sales related to GLP-1 products accounted for a significant 8% of total company revenues.
8%. Just from GLP-1s.
Just from GLP-1 related products. That's a remarkable contribution from a single, albeit massive, drug class.
That's an enormous market. But with such explosive growth, and West being so intertwined with it, does it make them vulnerable to new entrants or even to the pharma companies trying to insource some of this critical component manufacturing? Is there a downside risk to being so intertwined with a single, albeit massive, therapeutic area?
That's a very fair and critical question to ask. And while the GLP-1 opportunity is immense, that regulatory lock-in we discussed earlier largely mitigates the risk of pharma companies suddenly insourcing component manufacturing for approved drugs. The cost and risk of changing suppliers for an already approved multi-billion-dollar GLP-1 drug are simply too high. For new GLP-1s coming to market, West's deep expertise, global scale, and reputation for quality mean they're often the preferred partner from the very beginning.
So the barrier to entry is still very high.
Extremely high. The precision and sterility required for these components are incredibly high, creating a barrier to entry for new, unproven suppliers. As for over-reliance, West serves a very broad base of pharmaceutical companies in therapeutic areas. While GLP-1s are a significant tailwind now, they represent one among several powerful drivers, including the broader biologics revolution and the shift to self-administration.
So they're diversified.
Right. So while 8% of revenues from GLP-1 is significant, it's not the entirety of their business, and the underlying fundamental drivers for injectables remain incredibly diversified across countless drugs and diseases. The risks are diversified, even as they benefit disproportionately from this specific boom.
The idea of patients managing chronic conditions at home, giving their own injections, that's a massive shift in how healthcare is delivered, right? It speaks to a broader movement to empower patients and make treatment more accessible and convenient.
Absolutely. There's a clear and accelerating trend across the entire healthcare landscape towards patient-centric drug delivery. This emphasizes the self-administration of medications in a home care setting, moving treatment out of the clinic and into the patient's daily life. This model offers greater convenience for patients managing chronic conditions. Imagine the difference for someone with a chronic autoimmune disease or diabetes, no longer needing weekly clinic visits for an injection.
Yeah, that's huge.
It significantly improves adherence to prescribed treatment regimens, which is a huge factor in treatment success. Critically, it also helps reduce overall healthcare system costs by minimizing the need for frequent clinical visits and freeing up healthcare professional time. This trend directly fuels demand for West's more sophisticated and higher-value delivery systems, such as user-friendly auto-injectors, pen injectors, and wearable on-body devices like its SmartDose platform.
SmartDose, okay. Wearable injectors.
Yeah, devices that attach to the body and deliver a dose over time. These products are central to both their proprietary products and contract manufactured product segments, positioning West to capture increasing value as drug delivery becomes more complex and patient-focused. They are really at the forefront of enabling this shift towards a more convenient, patient-empowered future of medicine.
So we've covered how West is riding these massive therapeutic waves, from biologics to GLP-1s, but sometimes it's not just innovation driving demand. It's something seemingly, bureaucratic that creates an enormous, non-negotiable upgrade cycle. Could you tell us about how new regulatory standards like Annex 1 in Europe are acting as a powerful accelerant for West's most premium products? It feels like regulations usually add costs, not create huge business opportunities.
That's a crucial distinction, and Annex 1 is a perfect example of regulation acting as a powerful, non-discretionary catalyst. This is a significant regulatory update from the European Union that fundamentally reshapes sterile drug manufacturing standards. The new directive imposes far stricter requirements on manufacturing processes to minimize the risk of microbial contamination, with a specific focus on primary packaging components.
Stricter rules for keeping things sterile?
Much stricter. Think of it like this. For sterile drug manufacturing, previously, you might have brought in components in bulk and maybe sterilized them on site. Now Annex 1 is essentially saying no, the screws, the scalpels, even the air filters for an operating room must arrive already sterilized and individually packaged to an even higher standard of cleanliness to minimize any risk of contamination.
Okay.
It's a fundamental upgrade in what sterile means at every single step, and it pushes everyone to the absolute cutting edge of sterile manufacturing and component delivery. This change acts as a powerful, non-discretionary catalyst, essentially forcing pharmaceutical companies to upgrade from standard bulk packaged components to higher quality, pre-sterilized, ready-to-use containment systems.
And West sells those ready-to-use systems. Exactly. This directly benefits West because customers are compelled to adopt their premium HVP offerings, such as their Westerolch and sterilized components and their NovaPure products, which are designed with enhanced quality specifications to meet these higher standards. Management has identified the Annex 1 transition as a significant multi-year opportunity, and as of mid-2025, West has 370 active upgrade projects underway with customers. This is accelerating the mix shift towards West's most profitable products. 370 projects just for this upgrade, wow.
Yeah, it's significant. What's fascinating here is that this regulatory stringency doesn't just create a one-time upgrade cycle. It actively widens and deepens West's competitive moat. The heightened standards for quality, compliance, and scaled production create a barrier that smaller, less capitalized competitors find exceedingly difficult to surmount. Pharmaceutical companies, which face catastrophic financial and reputational consequences from a product recall or regulatory sanction, are highly incentivized to partner with the most reliable, highest quality supplier that can guarantee compliance on a global scale. This is not an area where they are willing to compromise on quality for a lower price.
Oh, so the regulation pushes customers to the leader.
Precisely. The regulatory environment, therefore, functions as a powerful non-market force that pushes customers up the value chain and directly into West's most advanced and profitable product lines. This creates a virtuous cycle. Regulation drives demand for West's premium products, and the company's unique ability to meet these exacting standards solidifies its market leadership and reinforces its pricing power, enhancing its long-term profitability and strategic importance.
It's a regulatory tailwind that actually builds their moat.
That's a great way to put it. It actively builds the moat.
That's incredible, a regulation that acts as a business accelerant and moat builder. Now, let's dive into how West structures its business. We've talked about components, but they do more, right?
Yeah.
How do these different pieces fit together to create their overall offering?
Right. West Pharmaceutical Services organizes its operations into two primary reportable segments: proprietary products and contract manufactured products. This structure allows the company to offer a comprehensive range of solutions, from individual high-performance components to fully assembled complex medical devices. It's a strategic setup that covers a broad spectrum of customer needs in the injectable drug market and allows for significant internal synergy.
This proprietary product segment sounds like their bread and butter, where those critical stoppers and seals live. Tell us more about what's happening within this core engine of their business.
That's precisely right. The proprietary products segment constituted approximately 81% of fiscal year 2024 sales, making it the company's core business and primary engine of profitability and growth. This segment encompasses the design, manufacture, and sale of West's own branded products, which include a vast portfolio of stoppers, seals, and syringe and cartridge components, as well as some advanced drug delivery devices. The key strategic imperative within this segment is a continuous mix shift towards high-value products, or HVPs. These premium offerings now represent approximately 73% of the segment's sales and are the company's most significant long-term growth and margin driver.
HVPs. Okay, we've heard those names.
Yeah, we've touched on some examples already, but to elaborate. Fluorotech film-coated components, as we discussed, provide an inert barrier against drug interaction, critical for sensitive biologics. Westar components are pre-washed and sterilized for immediate, ready-to-use application, directly addressing the Annex 1 requirements. NovaPure components are manufactured to the absolute highest quality standards, minimizing particulates and ensuring superior functionality, which is essential for the most advanced, high-value biologic drugs. And Deco Crystal Zenithy offers a novel polymer alternative to glass, providing exceptional break resistance and chemical stability for sensitive formulations.
And how's this segment performing now post-COVID?
Good question. After experiencing a temporary decline in 2023 and 2024 due to the industry-wide destocking of components used in COVID-19 vaccines and therapeutics, the segment is now returning to robust growth. In the second quarter of 2025, the proprietary products segment posted strong organic sales growth of 8.4%, signaling a normalization of customer ordering patterns. Management guides for mid to high single-digit HVP growth for the full year 2025, which underscores the continued demand for their premium offerings.
Okay, solid recovery there. So if proprietary products are the components that go into the drug, what exactly are they contract manufacturing? Are they building the entire device like an auto-injector for other companies?
Precisely. The contract manufactured products segment, representing about 19% of fiscal year 2024 sales, is where West provides design, manufacturing, and automated assembly of complex devices for pharmaceutical and medical device customers. This isn't just about components, it's about the entire sophisticated system that delivers the drug. This segment leverages advanced technologies such as multi-component molding, in-mold labeling, and cleanroom assembly to produce devices that often have stringent technical and quality requirements. It's a key beneficiary of the trend toward patient self-administration of injectable medicines, as they manufacture components and often fully assemble devices for products like auto-injectors, pen injectors, and continuous glucose monitors.
So they're making the actual pens for the GLP-1s, for example.
In many cases, yes, or critical parts of them. A key near-term growth catalyst for this segment is the ongoing ramp-up of the company's new manufacturing facility in Dublin, Ireland, which is specifically dedicated to producing auto-injectors and pens for these high-growth therapeutic areas, especially those related to the obesity and diabetes markets.
That's a powerful distinction. Now, are these just two separate businesses running side by side, or do they somehow make each other stronger? I'm always looking for that synergy, that 1+1 = 3 effect in a business.
Oh, they absolutely create a powerful synergistic flywheel where one part of the business enhances the other, creating a stronger overall offering than if they were separate. Let me give you a concrete example. West's deep expertise in material science and drug container interactions, gained from their proprietary products business, provides a significant competitive edge when bidding for and executing complex contract manufacturing projects. A customer is much more likely to trust West to manufacture a sensitive, multi-component drug delivery device because they know West possesses an unparalleled understanding of the primary container and plunger that will be integrated within it.
Ah, so their component knowledge helps them win manufacturing deals.
Exactly. This upfront knowledge helps them avoid costly compatibility issues down the line. Conversely, the experience gained in the contract manufacturing of complex, multi-component delivery devices, understanding the precise mechanical forces, tolerances, and assembly requirements for something like an auto-injector, directly informs and improves the design of West's proprietary components.
No, so.
Well, for instance, their knowledge of an auto-injector's exact mechanics and patient use cases allows West to design a better syringe plunger with optimal break-loose and glide force characteristics, making the injection smoother and more reliable for the patient. This creates a virtuous feedback loop. Success in one segment generates opportunities and enhances capabilities in the other. This integrated model allows West to engage with customers earlier and more deeply in the drug development process, positioning the company not just as a component supplier, but as a holistic, integrated containment and delivery solutions provider.
Makes them stickier.
Definitely. This is a powerful differentiator that deepens customer relationships, increases stickiness, and enables West to capture a larger share of the total value of a final drug product.
This kind of critical, high-quality business with that amazing synergistic flywheel should definitely show up in the financials. What does the past 5 years, especially navigating the pandemic and its aftermath, tell us about West's performance? How did they manage those extreme highs and lows?
Yeah, a thorough examination of West's financial history reveals a company characterized by consistent, profitable growth, strong cash flow generation, and high returns on capital. The period from 2020 to 2024 is particularly interesting as it includes the unprecedented demand surge from the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent industry-wide normalization. Looking at the top line, West demonstrated strong revenue growth, with sales increasing by 16.7% in 2020 and a remarkable 31.9% in 2021. This surge was primarily driven by extraordinary demand for components used in COVID-19 vaccines and therapeutics.
That's a huge jump in 21.
Massive. Following this peak, revenue growth moderated in 2022 and 2023 and saw a slight decline of -1.9% in 2024, reflecting the anticipated wind-down of pandemic-related sales and a subsequent period of customer inventory destocking.
The COVID hangover.
Pretty much. However, it's crucial to look beyond these pandemic-related distortions. Management has indicated that excluding the COVID headwinds, the company's underlying base business grew at a strong mid-teens percentage rate in 2023. The return to positive organic sales growth, with Q2 2025 net sales up 9.2%, signals that this destocking cycle has largely concluded and the company's fundamental growth drivers are reasserting themselves.
Okay, so the core business is strong.
Very strong. The business is also well diversified geographically, which is a key de-risking factor, with international sales accounting for 57.5% of net sales in 2024. Both the Americas and EME regions each contributed over 40% of revenue, providing a balanced global footprint that insulates them from regional downturns.
An elite profitability profile that sounds promising. What do the margins tell us? Because generating revenue is one thing, but converting it into profit speaks volumes about a business's strength and pricing power.
West truly exhibits an elite profitability profile, a hallmark of a wide-moat business. Gross margins expanded significantly to a peak of 41.5% in 2021, largely driven by the highly favorable mix of HVP components sold for COVID-19 vaccines.
Over 40% gross margin, wow.
Yeah, exceptional. While margins have since normalized to the mid-30s as this specific mix has unwound, for instance, 34.5% in 2024, they remain at historically high levels and are poised to expand further as the mix shifts back toward HVPs for biologics and GLP-1s, which command higher prices due to their specialized nature. Operating margins have consistently been strong, remaining above 20% even during the 2024 downturn and reaching a peak of 26.6% in 2021. This demonstrates excellent operational control and the inherent profitability of the business model. Net margins have also been robust, ranging from 16.1% to 23.4% over this period.
Still very healthy numbers.
Absolutely. Furthermore, the company's ability to generate high returns on capital is a key indicator of its competitive strength and value creation. Return on equity, or ROE, has been consistently above 17%, and return on invested capital, ROIC, has been excellent, peaking above 25% in both 2021 and 2022.
25% ROIC. How good is that, really?
It's stellar. To put that 25% ROIC in perspective, for many industrial companies, anything consistently above 10–12% is considered strong. Hitting 25% and sustaining it, particularly with the capital intensity of manufacturing these highly precise components, signals a business that has truly mastered capital allocation and possesses a pricing power that allows it to generate outsized returns. It's essentially saying for every dollar they put into their business, they're generating 25 cents back in profit for shareholders, which is elite tier performance. And ROIC, consistently above the company's cost of capital, signifies that management is effectively allocating capital to projects that generate significant value for shareholders.
And how does all that elite profitability translate into actual cash? Cash flow is king, after all, and it's what ultimately funds growth and returns to shareholders.
West is indeed a prolific cash flow generator. The company has consistently produced strong cash flow from operations, providing the financial flexibility to fund its growth initiatives and return capital to shareholders. Free cash flow, which is cash from operations minus capital expenditures, did decline in 2024 to $276.4 million. This was primarily due to lower operating results from the destocking cycle, coupled with continued high level of capital investment in new capacity, such as that Dublin facility we mentioned.
So they're investing heavily right now.
They are. However, this level of investment is strategic, aiming to support significant future growth and capacity expansion in high-demand areas. As capital expenditures normalize back to the historical range of 6–8% of annual sales, as major expansion projects complete, free cash flow generation is expected to re-accelerate significantly. This signals a healthy, reinvesting business poised for robust future free cash flow growth.
So West has established this incredibly strong position with high margins and impressive returns. But who are they actually up against in this specialized market? Are there many other companies that can operate at this scale with this kind of precision and regulatory expertise?
Yeah, the market for parenteral or injectable drug packaging is best described as a concentrated oligopoly. Think of it like, I don't know, the airline industry or major credit card companies. A few dominant players control most of the market share. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a tight-knit club where competition exists. But new entrants face enormous hurdles due to the scale, expertise, and regulatory demands involved.
Definitely not a commodity market then.
No, certainly not.
Let's dig deeper into that moat we mentioned earlier. What makes it so incredibly tough for a new player to even get started, let alone compete effectively with West? Because the barriers to entry sound almost insurmountable.
You're absolutely right. The barriers are formidable, creating a multi-layered and robust competitive moat. The core of West's economic moat is that deep regulatory entrenchment we discussed. When a pharmaceutical company submits a new drug application or biologics license application, West's components are specified as an integral part of that submission. Changing any of these components, once approved, is a monumental undertaking for the drug manufacturer, requiring costly and time-consuming revalidation and resubmission to regulatory agencies, with significant risk of delays or even rejection for a multi-billion-dollar drug. This effectively locks West in as the supplier for the entire duration of the drug's life cycle.
The lock-in is key. What else?
Beyond that, there's a century of accumulated technical expertise and intellectual property. West possesses deep, specialized knowledge in material science, particularly the complex physicochemical interactions between drug formulations and elastomeric or polymer packaging materials. This scientific leadership is protected by a vast and growing portfolio of intellectual property, with the company being issued more than 170 utility and design patents globally in 2024 alone. This isn't just about patents on basic designs, it's about proprietary materials, manufacturing processes, and specialized coating technologies that are incredibly difficult to reverse engineer or replicate.
Okay, deep science and patents.
Right. And finally, West's global manufacturing scale and its unwavering reputation for quality serve as critical differentiators. Pharmaceutical companies need suppliers who can produce billions of components with flawless consistency and guarantee a secure, redundant global supply chain capabilities that very few competitors can credibly match. Establishing this kind of trusted relationship, along with the necessary regulatory approvals for manufacturing facilities and processes, takes decades and immense capital investment.
Okay, so who are the other major players in this oligopoly that West competes with? It sounds like a tight-knit group, so understanding the competitive landscape is key.
While West holds a strong leadership position, they operate alongside other formidable competitors, primarily large European-based companies with long histories in pharmaceutical materials. These include Gerresheimer AG, a German-based competitor offering specialty glass and plastic primary packaging, drug delivery devices, and contract manufacturing. Then there's Schott AG, another German technology group and a global leader in specialty glass, providing a comprehensive range of glass vials, syringes, and ampoules. And finally, the Stevanato Group, an Italian company that provides an integrated offering of glass, primary packaging, plastic solutions, and engineering systems for the pharmaceutical industry.
So mostly European giants. How does West stack up?
Within this landscape, West is identified as a Tier 1 player, particularly in high-performance elastomeric components and integrated systems, alongside Schott and Gerresheimer. West differentiates itself through a market-led strategy, creating tailored solutions for specific customer segments like biologics, generics, and pharma, competing on scientific support, regulatory expertise, and total value rather than just on price.
So not just competing on cost.
No, they are not just trying to win on who has the cheapest stopper. They are selling a complete de-risked solution.
Usually, when big pharma companies merge and consolidate, that means they have more buying power, which can hurt suppliers, right? Does this consolidation trend actually strengthen West's position, or does it make them more vulnerable? This seems like a paradox.
This raises an important question, and it's a common concern with industry consolidation. While consolidation can lead to increased pricing pressure in many industries, for mission-critical components like those West supplies, the primary concern is not cost, but rather uncompromising quality and supply chain reliability. The cost of a West stopper is a negligible fraction of a biologic drug's total value. But a packaging failure leading to contamination, a product recall, or a production halt is catastrophic, with multi-billion-dollar implications and severe reputational damage.
So quality trumps cost here.
Absolutely. For these critical components, price is secondary to reliability and risk mitigation. In fact, what we often see is a flight to quality. As large pharmaceutical companies merge, their procurement departments are tasked with rationalizing and standardizing their supplier base. They prioritize minimizing risk across their combined portfolios, choosing the most reliable global leader, which is often West. This process effectively culls weaker regional suppliers from the system and deepens the dependence of the industry's largest players on West, thereby increasing the company's strategic importance and reinforcing its long-term bargaining power.
So consolidation actually helps West.
It's a paradox where consolidation actually strengthens the position of the market leader by making quality and reliability even more paramount.
So who is guiding the ship, and how do they decide where to put their money? A strong management team with a clear capital allocation strategy is vital for a business with such a deep moat and ambitious growth plans.
Yeah, West Pharmaceutical Services is indeed led by a seasoned executive team. Eric N. Green has been president and CEO since April 2015 and chair of the board since May 2022, steering the company through significant growth and market shifts, including the pandemic. The management team was recently strengthened in July 2025 with the appointment of Robert Bob McMahon as Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, bringing extensive financial leadership experience from Agilent Technologies. This team operates with a clear, disciplined, and shareholder-friendly capital allocation framework, prioritizing investments for future growth while consistently returning capital to shareholders.
Okay, what are their priorities for spending?
Their top priority is always investment in organic growth, directly responding to strong customer demand, particularly in biologics and GLP-1s. They've undertaken a significant capital expenditure program, including the new Dublin facility we discussed, with CapEx elevated at $377 billion in 2024, though expected to normalize to a sustainable 6–8% of annual sales as expansion projects complete.
So building more capacity first.
Right. This capital is going into expanding capacity for their high-value products and advanced delivery systems. Second is research and development for innovation, with consistent investment of 2–3% of sales, about $69.1 million in 2024, to maintain technological leadership. This isn't just incremental improvement. It's about anticipating future drug challenges and developing the next generation of materials and delivery solutions.
Investing in the future tech.
Exactly. Third, they prioritize returning capital to shareholders. West is a dividend aristocrat, having increased dividends for over 30 consecutive years, which signals strong confidence in long-term cash generation and financial health.
30 years of dividend hikes, that's impressive.
It is. They also utilize share repurchases as a flexible tool, with $560.9 million spent in 2024 to repurchase 1.58 million shares, backed by a substantial $1.0 billion program authorized in early 2023. Finally, they engage in strategic mergers and acquisitions for bolt-on technologies, portfolio enhancement, or market access, but this is clearly the lowest priority in their framework, indicating a preference for organic, internally driven growth.
Okay, so we've established West is a high-quality business with incredible advantages, riding powerful secular tailwinds. But for you, the discerning listener, what about the price tag? Does it trade at a premium? And is that justified, especially given the market dynamics we've discussed?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question for any investor, isn't it? West Pharmaceutical Services has historically commanded a premium valuation relative to the broader market and many of its peers, and this is a clear reflection of its high-quality financial profile, superior profitability, and wide defensible economic moat. To provide some context, over the last 10 years, the company's average price-to-earnings, or PE ratio, has been approximately 45.5x. This ratio even peaked over 60x during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020-2021, driven by the surge in vaccine-related earnings and the essential nature of their products.
60 times earnings, that's steep.
It was. However, as of early September 2025, the stock trades at a trailing 12-month PE ratio of approximately 37.5x. This current multiple is notably below its 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year historical averages, suggesting that the valuation has become more reasonable following the post-pandemic normalization period. This might offer a more attractive entry point than during the COVID peak.
Okay, 37.5x is still not cheap, but better than 60x. How does this compare to its direct competitors and other high-quality medical tech companies? Is that premium an outlier, or is it more aligned with other top-tier players in the healthcare space? And what does that imply about how the market views West?
All right, let's put it in context. When we compare West's key valuation metrics to its direct competitors and a broader set of high-quality medical device and life sciences tools companies as of late 2025, the picture becomes clear. West Pharmaceutical Services, with a market cap of $18.0 billion, trades at a forward PE of 37.1x and EV/EBITDA of 24.1x, and boasts net margins of 16.5% and ROE of 17.7%. In contrast, Gerresheimer AG, a direct competitor, has a market cap of $1.7 billion, a forward PE of 16.5x, EV/EBITDA of 7.5x, with estimated net margins around 7% and ROE around 8%.
Much lower multiples for Gerresheimer.
Yeah, but also much lower profitability. Then there's the Stevahado Group, another peer with a market cap of $6.3 billion, trades at a forward PE of 43.9x, EV/EBITDA of 26x, net margins of 12.0%, and ROE of 9.9%.
So Stevanato has a higher PE than West.
Higher PE, but lower ROE. And if you look at a larger, high-quality medical technology peer like Becton Dickinson with a market cap of $55.1 billion, it trades at a forward PE of 35.0x. This comparison reveals that West trades at a significant premium to Gerresheimer, but it also exhibits substantially higher profitability, net margins, and ROE more than double. Interestingly, it trades at a lower forward PE than Stevanato, but with significantly higher returns on equity. When compared to broader high-quality medical technology peers, its valuation appears more in line.
So the premium seems linked to its higher quality and profitability.
I think so. If we connect this to the bigger picture, West is certainly not a cheap stock in absolute terms. It doesn't trade at a low multiple. However, its premium valuation is, in my view, well justified. The market fundamentally views West not just as a packaging supplier, but as a high-tech, de-risk pharmaceutical infrastructure play. Its superior profitability, entrenched competitive position, pricing power, and highly predictable recurring revenue streams truly place it in an elite category of businesses. The combination of these quality factors with clear, durable, long-term growth drivers, including the biologics revolution, the GLP-1 supercycle, and the regulatory-driven shift to high-value products, warrants a premium multiple. The stock's pullback from its 2021 highs, driven by the temporary and now abating destocking cycle, has actually provided investors with an opportunity to acquire a best-in-class company at a valuation that is more reasonable relative to both its own history and its compelling long-term growth prospects.
Even the best businesses have risks. What should we, as listeners and potential investors, be mindful of with West Pharmaceutical Services? What are the potential headwinds they might face, despite their formidable moat?
It's always important to consider potential risks, even for a high-quality business like West. From a macroeconomic and geopolitical standpoint, a significant global economic downturn or recession could impact overall demand for pharmaceutical products, leading customers to decrease inventory levels or intensifying pricing pressure. They also face supply chain disruptions as they rely on single-source suppliers for many critical raw materials like specific elastomers, aluminum, and plastics. Price volatility in these petroleum-based raw materials and energy costs due to inflation could compress profit margins if costs cannot be fully passed on to customers.
The usual macro suspects.
Right. Furthermore, with over 57% of revenue international, they're exposed to currency fluctuations, political economic instability, and changes in trade agreements in various countries.
That's quite a comprehensive list of potential headwinds. I'm particularly struck by the idea of technological disruption, a pill replacing an injection. Is that a science fiction scenario or something West genuinely has to keep an eye on, even with their robust moat?
That's a very keen observation, and it's definitely something West monitors closely. While breakthroughs enabling oral delivery of large molecule biologics remain a significant scientific challenge, it's not entirely science fiction. Research is ongoing in areas like oral insulin or antibody therapies. If such breakthroughs were to occur on a wide scale, it could structurally reduce demand for injectable components. Similarly, therapies requiring much less frequent dosing, perhaps a single injection that lasts for months or even a year, could also impact volume, though it would likely mean even more sophisticated, higher-value delivery systems for those fewer doses.
So it's a long-term watch item?
Definitely. So while their moat is strong, the company must always invest in R&D to anticipate and adapt to these long-term technological shifts. On the industry and competitive front, customer consolidation within pharma, as we discussed, could theoretically increase purchasing power and lead to some pricing pressure for more commoditized products, although this is largely mitigated by the flight to quality we covered. And while in oligopoly, competition from other well-capitalized global players like Gerresheimer and Stevanato Group remains intense, particularly for broader market share.
And company-specific risks.
Finally, company-specific risks include operational execution challenges, such as delays or cost overruns in their significant capital expansion program, like the new Dublin plan, which could hinder their ability to meet demand. A significant regulatory or quality control failure, a manufacturing defect, or compliance breach could lead to recalls, sanctions, and severe reputational damage. And as we've seen recently, their business is susceptible to fluctuations in customer inventory management strategies, with destocking cycles creating near-term revenue volatility. However, despite these, many risks are mitigated by the company's core strengths, such as the non-discretionary nature of its products and its unique ability to meet exacting standards, reinforcing its market leadership.
So what does this all mean for us, the listeners, as we think about the future of healthcare and innovation? It really feels like West is positioned at a fascinating nexus, quietly enabling so much of what we consider groundbreaking in medicine.
I think that's right. West Pharmaceutical Services stands as a quintessential high-quality compounder, operating a mission-critical business that is protected by an exceptionally wide and durable competitive moat. Its unparalleled strategic position ensures it benefits directly from the most powerful and enduring secular trends in modern healthcare: the inexorable rise of complex biologic and GLP-1 drugs, the increasing healthcare needs of an aging global population, and the continuous tightening of quality and regulatory standards worldwide. These are not fleeting trends. They are long-term, foundational forces shaping the future of medicine, and West is deeply embedded in all of them.
It really does feel like a uniquely de-risked way to participate in the most dynamic parts of pharma innovation without having to bet on a single drug's success or failure. It's about the underlying infrastructure of innovation itself.
Exactly. They are the ultimate picks and shovels play for the modern pharmaceutical age.
Consider this. Every time a new, life-changing injectable drug comes to market or an existing therapy becomes easier, safer, and more convenient to administer at home, there's an invisible army of meticulously engineered components and specialized expertise making it all possible. West Pharmaceutical Services is at the forefront of that quiet, indispensable revolution. What other picks and shovels businesses are quietly enabling the world's biggest innovations completely out of sight? We'll leave you with that thought for your own deep dive.